So Raoul is seen in combat where a cannon blows dirt in his face, which apparently kills him. Seriously, shouldn't there be a mark or something when a cannonball hits you? So Christine and Athos find out about Raoul's death and... Wait, how would they know to send it to Christine? I mean, they weren't engaged yet, so technically they're not family, and so in government's eyes they're total strangers, and oh god, why am I even trying to bring logic into such a stupid thing? So Athos storms the musketeer training grounds and proceeds to show that being retired for long enough to learn violin hasn't messed with his aim or sword handling one bit. So Athos kills a member of the French Royal Guard, and they don't arrest him because he stops. God, what? Not even a government in fiction would do that! Christina's already in the palace. Wow, that didn't take long for her to move in. And here we find out...
My family. My father is dead and my mother has...
The sickness of the lungs.
Something else never mentioned again. So for the sake of all of us, I'm just going to skip all this pointless stuff. There's way too much of it anyway. So Christine and Louis talk and...
I cannot do this.
Yeah, but you sure don't seem to be fighting too hard.
You know that there is more of me to love than a crown.
That's what she said! Stupid joke. Anyway, they... I can barely tell which one of them is the girl here. Porthos and Aramis meet.
We're in a tomb?
No, it's a hall of mirrors, stupid. So D'Artagnan and Athos meet, and they begin to discuss the king.
Louis has ordered me to discover the true identity of the general of the Jesuit order. I am he.
What a twist!
Jeez, was this movie directed by M. Night Shyamalan? So Athos and Porthos join Aramis, but D'Artagnan chooses not to. You know, if you really wanted him to kill the king, you should have done this.
You won't get a sniff without me!
So they sneak into the prison, and we finally get to see the title character actually do something. Wow, only 45 minutes in, movie? Are you sure you didn't want to wait until the credits to show us? So they sneak him out by replacing him with a dead guy. They take him to their hideout and proceed to... hammer the mask off? They weren't worried in the slightest about destroying his face. Well, they remove the mask and...
What a twist!
Okay, these twists are really starting to turn this movie into a bendy straw. So they bring him into a room and... Why haven't they moved the hair out of his face yet? Better yet, why hasn't he moved the hair out of his face yet?
What is her name? The old woman called me Philippe.
Let me get this straight. That's Louis' brother Philippe. Oh yeah, I can totally see the resemblance. Well, Porthos is having his midlife crisis, so Aramis decides to help him by telling him he's surrounded by excitement.
Look around you. The robins are singing, the pigeons are cooing. Can't you listen to their song?
Yeah, totally exciting. Oh wait, we can't forget the cheap attempt at humor. Ha, ha. So Aramis moves on to helping Arthos, and
now you hate.
What gives you the right to judge me, to play God with the lives of others?
God, could his delivery be any more boring? I mean, you're John Malkovich. Why are you purposely slacking off?
Is it because you're so much holier than everyone else?
Well, yes, there is that. But also because I'm more intelligent than anybody else.
I like him. Why isn't this movie about him instead of Louis and Philippe? So Aramis announces his plan to replace Louis with Philippe, and we're finally explain the plot. For those of you counting, it took 45 minutes to get to the title character, and almost an hour to get to the plot. Good job, movie. Half your story is exposition. So Louis and his mother are informed that the prisoner is dead, so the queen grieves over the loss of her son before... Okay, kind of random, but I suppose I shouldn't be complaining about random things at this point.
I know that to love you was a treason against France. But not to love you was a treason against my heart.
Oh, come on! Who talks like that? Not even Shakespeare writes lines that cheesy! And now I move on to easily the most painful part of this movie. I would like to apologize to all of you ahead of time. And those of you with weak constitutions, please turn your head until I tell you it's okay to look. God! Jeez. Button number 4. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. For those of you who turned away, you can look again. After that horrific experience, we cut to a long scene of nothing. It's a really long scene of nothing, so I'm just going to skip it and get straight to the training montage. Obvious joke. So Christine receives a letter from Raoul. Wow, even though that letter was both written and delivered before the fatality count, it got here a lot later. Christine then says that both of them are going to hell for their sins against God.
You will burn in hell. I will not, for I am king, ordained by God.
Oh, Titus!
Douchebag!
So they go to the ball and begin what can only be described as... well... take it away, Diddy.
It's called mind fucking.
Well, Louis storms out and... wow, they all notice that really quickly. Well, they tie up Louis and disguise Philippe as him. But D'Artagnan starts to get suspicious, so he goes in to check it out, but they escape behind a... hey, wait a second! Oh, God. For those of you who aren't amazing dorks like myself, that right there was a portrait of King Louis XV. Louis XV won't be born for another 50 years. He especially wouldn't have a portrait of his adult self hanging up in the Palace of Versailles. And as long as we're on that subject, the Palace of Versailles won't be built until 1664, won't be occupied until 1682, and this movie takes place in 1662! Okay, now that my nerd rant is over, let's move on. D'Artagnan realizes that the king is a fake when he's being nice, so he sends his men to find them. They meet up in the catacombs and begin to fight. Hold on, did that wall just bounce? Oh my god, how do you let that slip by you in editing? It's so freaking obvious! So the men proceed to thoroughly trounce their enemies.
I am Porthos! I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus!
Until finally being stopped by D'Artagnan himself. So Arthos decides the best way to get out of this is threatening to kill the king. To which D'Artagnan responds with killing the king's brother.
Great idea! Who needs a king? No king, no king, la 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 la.
Louis begins to explain the situation when their mother runs in.
Please.
You were a part of this too, Mother?
He's your brother. I love you both.
And your love has meant nothing to either of us. It has meant something to me.
Yeah, he just told his mother he didn't love her because we couldn't tell he was evil already. Philippe then asks to be killed, which Louis responds with,
And as for you, my brother, back to the prison you shall go, and into the mask you hate.
Louis, don't.
Wear it until you love it! And die in it.
so you don't kill him because the plot says so. Got it. Christine then hangs herself, and for more evil reinforcement, he says,
Get rid of it.
I love how over 3/4 of the way into this, it's still trying to prove that Louis is evil. We know already! Our heroes return to the catacombs and get their old uniforms, making them the Three Musketeers once more. This would be really cool if I cared at all at this point, but all I can say is, woohoo. So they sneak back into the jail and release Philippe, but the jailer locks himself in one of their cells so they cannot free him.
Just sniveling, drooling.
Okay, there's a lot of disbelief I can suspend, but you actually expect me to believe the jailer locked himself into an occupied cell, the person occupying it being the only one in the entire prison with an iron face? You work in a prison! Isn't there a less dangerous or empty cell you can lock yourself into? Why on earth would you go into that one? I can't even believe a fictional man doing that!